We're going to continue our campaign of Sandpoint Chronicles as the group has made their way into the small hidden village of Kibosh, somewhere in the far, far northern hinterlands, even more north of Nabor. We ended the last session with a type of prophecy or vision from a devout gnomish leader of Shaylin. In that vision, she told Nalia that she was a big part of the play in the new upcoming story, or with her and her brother Marius, that we saw a couple sessions ago disappear as he frantically was looking for the body of Bella. With the overlooming threat of kobolds, of a kobold attack that's led still by this mysterious leader, the group has started to rest up. They're in the act of resupplying and forming some type of battle plan, whether they're going to head back to Nabor and ask for reinforcements, or prepare for a defense, or if they're going to stay here at the village and do the same, or if they're going to head back out into the forest to make their way through the swamp into the kobold cave entrance and take the battle to the kobolds themselves before they're able to mobilize. And that is where we will begin this session. As you remember, Nalia, this follower was speaking to you, and she kind of described this vision, and I sent you a picture of that vision. And if you remember, you were asking for a canvas and paintings to begin to work on a picture. And that's where I'll take it from there. So I will, Nolly, let you go. If you can remember from last session, I know it's been a little bit of time. So if
You're,
we'll get
I was going to
Nolly's.
say, Nualia, you're muted.
There you go. No, you're still muted.
I wonder if her mic's not working.
I bet it's push to talk. You can just take the push to talk off. So if it will get me and I will get that sorted. As everyone else is there, we'll kind of pan to the other side of the village. Um, as the festivities is over, and I'll just start from the top. For Garlemon, Burke and Brodrick have been playing, and you can see that the spirits of this small halfling community has been lifted up. Burke's still, kind of playing his instrument, still happy, but you can definitely see that the morale of the village has been uplifted after this performance by the two. You know,
By instrument, you mean his voice?
his voice, yes, his voice. Forgot he was a vocalist. So one of the meisters come up to you, Garlemon, and introduces himself more formally, and he says his name is Maestro Glittersky. It's a familiar face, and the people are still kind of walking out of the amphitheater area, Garlemon, and he says, Garlemon, I heard your plea for about reinforcements if you were to go deeper. He says, I have the scout that scouted with the other two to find the missing body of your comrades. He says, I'm still trying to muster up volunteers to go. Um, I know that we'd had a day or two for us to still do this, but I do have one that can go and at least lead you to the entrance. Um, the way that you came is still flooded, is what our scouts say. We didn't send many out in fear of them being killed or or even worse, whatever is going on right now. But there are alternate routes to the kobold cave down the river, and we have devices for you to make that travel a little quicker. He tells you that,
I mean,
Garlemald.
whatever help you can send with us will certainly be appreciated if we want to try and solve this problem.
He says, I agree. I don't want to send um, family men, farmers, you know, dads, brothers, sons to this fight not prepared. Um, we only have a couple of warriors that may even to stand up to this. And you saw with Rosalie's group, those are some of our best warriors, and only Rosalie made it out thanks to your group's help. So I have no issue continuing to talk to you know more fighters in the village. But I don't want to send anyone that's on a useless suicide mission, which I hope you can respect, and I would not want you to do the same.
Of course, I completely understand. And I assure you, anybody that you send with us will be there in a purely support role. I don't want any of your men on the front line. I can handle that just fine.
Okay. That that makes me feel a little bit. We're very small here in Kibosh, and we're very secretive, and I don't want to see our lineage wiped out. Even though it may be secret, it still means we've felt we've been pretty safe here for years, and I know that if we don't do anything, we have a threat to be wiped out. We don't know what's really in front of us. So you have to understand from our perspective. We do have Rosalie. We're thankful that Rosalie was there to back your story, but we're just we don't know, and you can kind of tell by him stumbling over his words, Garlemon, as you zoom out, that he looks very he's doing the part. He reminds you of a master sage or a mastered wizard type. You see his garments, you see his magical rings. He's definitely dressed in as as that he is very seasoned in the magical arts. And you know that he sat in the middle when the council was happening. So for you, he kind of looks bewildered and disheveled a little bit as he's talking to you. So as he starts to stir a little bit, he sees, kind of a little bit anxious. But then as he continues to talk to you, he says, we don't know what's out there. So
One way to find out.
as and he just kind of chuckle, but it's more of like a forced, tongue-in-cheek type of chuckle when the kobold says that. Um, and he says, "Well, I'll let your group get back to your rest, and I do have one scout for you, Garlemon, but just give me a day or two as you rest." He just said, "Garlemon, I have a couple of the Meisters have kind of spoken up. Um, one has spoke about Nalia, and um, I hear that you have another user of the divinity in your group. Um, if you don't mind, I would like to talk to your group, and in this day or two that we're resting, maybe that we could do some type of training."
I mean, I don't see any issues with that.
Okay. He says, "Well, when you go back to the public hall in the evening, I will come and speak over me and Meister Opus, I believe, will be over there, and Master Glamiers and Bronstone, and we'll kind of we'll talk about what we have planned at least for the next day or two as we continue to muster up numbers um, for the scouting mission to the Kobold camp to see if they've fortified anything or started to mobilize or just. Anyways, I'm exhausted and I'm just kind of stumbling over my words, but I'll see you in a little bit. You can expect us soon. Okay.
All right.
With that, Nolly, did you get your mic working? Okay. Let me see. I wonder if it's on push to talk. Huh. Let me see if she could be heard up to the neck. Let me see. Nolly, can you talk now? Huh. I wonder what's wrong with the mic.
Okay, this might seem like a silly thing, but on your microphone, if your headset's anything like mine, there might be a switch somewhere on it. Is your microphone turned on?
Yeah,
Because I have a
that's
tendency
happened
to
to me.
accidentally turn mine off.
That's happened to me a couple of times too. I wonder what it is.
Like I use the mic camera.
So, Nualia, I see you typing in chat. It looks like your microphone's built in to your computer. Are you using a Mac, Windows, maybe even Linux or like a Chromebook? Windows, okay. So, in your bottom left in that little search area, uh, go to type the words like microphone settings. Do-do-do.
There is no push to talk in here though. You just have to go to user settings.
So, in the microphone settings, there should be a thing that says like allow apps to access your microphone, making sure that that's on. And then from there, at the bottom, there should be a thing of allow desktop apps to access your microphone, and then that should be on, and then potentially whatever browser you're using. Is it okay? It's built in. Huh. Yeah, try backing out of Discord as Cody says there, and then getting back in. Because sometimes I even have to do that on my phone application.
Yeah, that's what I had to do too. That's why I exited Discord and it started working.
Discord is so buggy.
It is. I love it for what it is, but say something now. I bet you anything. Go to user settings and go to voice and video and go to user setting voice and videos. You see something that says input mode, voice activity, and push to talk.
Can you hear me now?
Bam!
Yeah.
There we go. Excellent, excellent. I got you. Man, look at that. Got an IT specialist, and then Cody. I
Uh,
appreciate it, guys. No, you got it now.
hey,
Something
I
else?
can I can develop apps, but I'm not and analyze your data for predictive modeling and stuff. But I am definitely not an IT specialist.
Were you there at that one? Nolly, can you say something? Because I just heard you.
Yeah.
Okay, got you. Okay, so we just we just left the amphitheater, and the lady was talking to you, and you asked for a canvas and things of that nature. Um, you were talking to her about it, and she spoke to you and said that we could definitely arrange that. And she says that she's going to head back to her bungalow, and then in a short time she's going to meet you at the public hall. So I'll just kind of fast forward, as everyone's walking back to the public hall. It's been some time, and everyone's resting, and as a collective. The Meister Glittersky comes back, and it's been some time now, and he talks to the group, and he says, he tips his little wizard hat to the party and says, so for as he addresses the group, he says, a couple of the Meisters here, um, we this threat, this unknown threat is happening. We've talked, and we've been in a very secretive village for quite some time now, and from our trading to our technology to our inventions for the amphitheater to the water wheel, even the granary and how we farm. Um, but with your help in rescuing Rosalie and being more than willing to put your life on the line for our kin, we have come to the decision that it's more bittersweet that we want to help aid you in the best we can. He says, Grandma, me and you briefly spoke about bringing more people into the kobold area, but we're gonna do something. We're gonna do something more. He says, each one of you. Well, he says each one of you. He says for Nalia and for Brodric and Garlemon and even Aloysius. He says each one of you will go with a Meister of the city, or excuse me, of the village. You will stay until we start to mobilize or get more reinforcements for you and start to train. Um, we're going to see if we can add a little more of what we have to offer in the way of combat and even our magical abilities to help aid in if the kobolds attack the village, or if when you guys decide to make your way back to the kobold cave. And again, like I told Garlemon earlier, we do have one person that is willing to go scout. I just don't want a suicide mission to happen. I want to make sure that who we send is trained enough to hold their own, even if they do have a support role. So, and Garlemon, we spoke early, but I do want your group's word that if things get to going, that you guys will retreat to fight another day.
Well, you absolutely have my word.
That's a little out of character laugh.
Yeah, don't worry. At the very least, I'm gonna make sure that all your people get out of there safe.
Okay, so he says that we have a couple of Meisters. He says, you, Garlemon, it has been agreed that you will go to the gnome master Bronstone. Bronstone here is a master craftsman. He is one he is actually taken on, and he's been in the company of dwarves before as they have traveled into the Underdark. He's old and he's a little ornery, but I'm sure that was just things that he's picked up from dwarves. And I hope no offense is taken, but he's a master craftsman when it comes to making armor. Um, He knows a lot of the dwarven ways as he's went to, let's say, the Underdark, and he has adventure doors underground way deeper than and way further than I've been to. He even has tales of underground oceans and seas and sailing on pirate vessels filled with I think it's aberrants, correct? Aberrants, aberrant pirates and whatnot, and apparitions and ghosts that haunt the Underdark. We have Master Glumers. Master Glumers is more of not your traditional spellcaster, but he's more of the ones that deals with potions and acids and concoctions of sorts. And that will be where you will go Aloysius. For Glitter Sky, which is myself, I'm going to take upon myself and to train Brodric in magical arts. And then for Nualia, I'd be Master Opus, which I believe you've already spoken with. So, and for the most part, I'm going to send you guys a message of what the training is going to be like, and that's going to be that. So you can just go, if you can go to your respective place on the map, it's not that important, but I'm going to send you. Okay. Let me send everybody a message.
Yeah, could you remind me which building?
Glitter Sky.
The one that says Master Glitter Sky? That's right.
Yep. Okay, so who did I send here? It's gonna be
I thought
very
we were,
video game.
I thought we were just, who will come with us, not who us will go with.
So for the kobold, he tells you can tag along with Gloomiers with Master Gloomiers with Aloysius. Okay, let me send you these messages. Master Opus, here we go.
Was mine Opus?
Yeah, Opus. Got you. I'll put you there. Okay. So I'm sending you each a message, and then this one is Brodric.
Geborg will try to stick with the group as much as he can, and if we are to split, he'll try to stick with one he will feel safer with.
Okay, well you can do that too. Who will you feel more safest with?
That will mean first physical strength and second lawful behavior.
So who's that going to be for you?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is one I'll be better with. Well, I'll stay with this one.
Okay, that's fine. So we have. I sent you your messages and. Let me see. Berg. Berg. Here we go. There we go. Okay, so I sent you the message. You can kind of see from the message that it I mean, there is a time jump, of course, of about 2 days. So each one of you can recognize that the training has been hard, but this is where we're gonna make some skill checks. Okay, so everyone in the group make a okay, let me see. So Garlemon. Wow, where is my chat box? Wow, it just disappeared. Let me close my program. Okay, there we go. So Garlemon, if you can go ahead and make a fortitude save, as your training will be based on fortitude.
Alrighty.
And it's going to be a 2 days of training. Make 2 checks. Okay.
Is this guy giving when he
and
says this?
Now it will be Aloysius. Aloysius can make an intelligence check. Yours will be based on intelligence. Okay, make another one because it's going to be 2 days of training. Okay. Bert, make intelligence check as well.
Patience check.
Yeah, intelligence check, make 2. Nolly, make 2 charisma checks. And then, Brodric, you get a little difference. Master Glitter Sky, since he is the head one and you are more of the divinity, he asked you if you want to go more in the charisma aspect or if you want to go more into the wisdom aspect.
Me?
No. Brodric. Nalia, you make 2 charisma checks.
I would prefer wisdom versus charisma.
Okay, make 2 wisdom checks then. Okay. And please nobody kill me for the results. Is everybody okay with not killing me? Make one more. Because everything's random. Okay. Is everybody cool with... Okay, so... Garlemon, for your fortitude state that you made, you will... He's, Master Bronstone, the training he was talking to you about, what he had to endure in the Underdark. So, he wanted to work on... And he sees that you're definitely the party's group. So he worked on making you tougher. So what his training was like for you was a lot of like frigid cold water training from the river, staying out overnight while being, in freezing temperatures because where they're at is cold. He went over training with like bludgeoning weapons, hitting to make you harder. The first day you did great. The second day you did not. The wear and tear of the previous events really started to even have effect on you, Garlemon. But Garlemon, you get a plus 2 on not becoming. So you make sure you put this down on your character sheet. You get a plus 2 on not becoming fatigued during a forced march. And Garlemon, you get a plus 1 on your first save to not losing an HP point on being after you go below 0. That makes sense.
So wait. I get a plus 1 against what now?
So like when you go under, you know how you have to make a Constitution check to not lose HP points, to not lose hit points, to go negative. You know what I'm saying?
But realize when you're below 0.
Yeah, when you're below 0, when you get knocked out.
Okay.
Yeah, you get a plus 1 to the first time.
Alrighty.
And you can call that any ability. I don't know what do you want to call it, battle prowess or whatever, or stand your ground. You can call it whatever you want to.
Okay.
This guy, Master Gloomiers, he is a master alchemist, and again, like Garlemon, the first day he was making you memorize codes. He was making you memorize codes, formulas. He's making you memorize different things, doing just memorization games with you to help you recall information quicker and to help you storage capacity. The first day you did great. The second day, even mental fatigue is a thing, which is probably the first time you felt this, Aloysius. So with this, he gives you on the very first alchemical, what's it called? Alchemical thing you do, like the spit or whatever, is going to be a +1 difficulty level for me to save against it for the very first one that you have that day.
Okay.
Okay. And again, Burke, unfortunately, Burke, you only did 1 save, man. You need to do 1 more, brother.
Oh.
Of intelligence check. Ugh. Okay.
Bro.
So, unfortunately, Burke, you're just there, kind of like a little brother that goes to his older brother's soccer practice, kicking the ball in the corner. Unfortunately, Burke.
Yeah.
You didn't get much from this training. Nalia with George as well. She was trying to teach you more of the magical arts, but unfortunately, not more of the magical, but more of the how to use your charisma to better talk to people. She says that she sees that you're more timid and have the ways with your words, so she's trying to help you with your public speaking more, which might be odd. But she says to be a leader, that is a great thing that you should have. But it seems that the lessons just did not, they didn't click as well. But she does give you your canvas for you to start painting, and she tells you that even though that this lesson might not have been successful or have the results that you both wanted, that you can still express yourself through your artwork. And she does give you a canvas and gives you like a writing book or like a sketch pad that you can take with you to travel. And she gives you a pen. Now this pen that she gives you has a nice cool feather, and she just says that this is very special and to not lose it. And
Okay.
she says that things that you want the most, even in a dire time of need, just draw it out or write it out, and that's what she gives you. Okay, now I'll go to Brodric. Brodric, he is this guy. This test was quite weird because you see a couple of things. You see potions behind him. You see different game. This weird stuff, and he brings out like a small. I'm gonna say a suitcase. I don't know if they have suitcases back then, but we'll just say a small suitcase with no handle. How about that? Like a suitcase that just kind of folds up. And he shows you this, and he says that, and just for all, intent, like simplification, this is like their enormous version of chest. So, and he says he looks at you and he says he wants to test your wisdom and your decision-making skills. So for 2 days straight, he teaches you how to play this game, Brodric. And you surprisingly to even yourself, you picked up this game very quickly. And you win, but you can tell that the very first day, he is testing your level, your aptitude, your mental acuity for this game and your decision making. And on the second day, again, you can see that he's pulling some punches because even during the game, you can see that he's still testing you. In the second day, he tells you that he's never met anyone who has picked up this game quickly. Now, he says that he gave you a couple of close games, so he wanted you to win. But he really wanted to test you and stretch you out. But for you rolling 20 and 22 for both your checks, this game has helped you gain 1 ability stat of wisdom, Brodric.
Oh, crap.
For 2 20s.
All right.
And he says that he tells you that there is hope and that he does believe that you and your group can help aid the town in their survival. Okay? So as the party kind of reconfines, it's been a grueling 2 days of training. We'll have everyone go back to the public hall. You're met by Rosalie, and she smiles and says that I hope your training went well with the Meisters. They've never agreed to train anyone outside the village, and that you five should take it as a huge honor to have been trained, or to even be accepted to be trained by them. So, more time's gonna pass. I can let the group RP if you want to. I don't want like you to think I'm speeding you through this. I just want, I know we're anxious to get things going. Um, you're met by the same. Let me see, the familiar face of the gnome, Brodric and Nualia, that helped scout you to the the plate gives description to where the river flooded. You're met by the same gnome, and he tells you that he has agreed upon to help scout and take you to where he believes the entrance of the kobold camp is, of the cave. He also tells you that it is going to be by way of a boat. So he hoped that none of you gets seasick or gets nauseated very easily, because the river is pretty tumultuous at this time due to the floods.
Hey, hang on tight. Don't worry.
So is there anything that the group wants to do before you leave to prepare? Now, he says that he's got to see how many more have volunteered, but is there anything that the group wants to do?
No, I'm good.
Okay. So... So at this point, the Meister comes back over and says that they're preparing for equipment. They're repairing the boat for the journey up, upstream back to where the kobold camp is believed to be. He tells you that you can expect the journey to be about a day on the boat ride, but then it's going to have some land tracking. He's going to get some equipment and some items together for the group, and to make one last roll call for any gnomes that want to go and volunteer. Okay. So.
Can I attempt to give a rousing speech in Gnomish?
Sure, you can. Do you have your speech ready?
No, I was just gonna kind of wing it and make like a roll on it.
Okay. You'll make a roll and then just say something? Yeah, sure.
Is that like a performance check or?
I feel like it could be a diplomacy check too, right?
I don't have either one, so I'm just gonna try something to bring us some bodies along.
Okay. And I'll give you a +5 since you are a gnome. So +5, and I give you a 2 because you're the hero. So what's that? That's 5 and 2. That's 7. So that's a 13, right? So a 13.
Right, I'm gonna say something about the gnomish spirit of exploration and protect your village. You know, sort of like my brothers and my countrymen. Let's all fight this together.
Again, so Aloysius gives a speech. I will say he does at the amphitheater because the town's kind of, mustered their supplies to do this. Not knowing a word he's saying.
What?
Let's see.
Oh,
Yeah.
Aloysius,
say
I'll
it.
assist your speech with a rousing yeah and a diplomacy check.
Okay.
A bad diplomacy check. Ignore that.
So, Garmon, you sent me a message. What would you like to do with the bronze beard?
That magic hilt that we got ages ago, I have no idea what to do with it. He's a craftsman. I was thinking maybe I could leave it with him and he could figure out something we could do with it. I just know we have like a magic sword hilt with nothing else attached to it, so like
Okay.
if anybody's gonna know what to do with it, it's probably some like some well-trained craftsman.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah, dude, that's a throwback.
So now we're going to do a craft check. He's going to look at it for you. What level is this guy? Okay. He tells you... He laughs when he sees it. And he says... Come look at the hilt.
Okay, I go look at it.
He takes his hammer, and you hear a huge bang as he smashes the hilt off. And he says, "This isn't a sword. It was disguised to look like one. It seems to be some type of rod." And he looks, and and his eyes go big, and he tells you that this is language that I've seen in the Underdark. This is from, I don't know how you guys want me to pronounce it. I've already said Droger, or what's the evil dwarf's called again?
Durgar.
Drugers. Say it one more time.
Durgar.
Dugar, right?
Dugar.
Dugar. He says this is Dugarian. Let's say Dugarian language from the Underdark on this rod.
Well, what does it say? I don't know how to read it.
He says, I don't either. I'm just familiar with it. He can tell you that there is the holy symbol. He's looking, he's reading it. And he starts to polish. He's starting to polish. He has he has his brush and he's polishing, polish your weapons. And he tells you that wow, you see a stone arch with a fire burning beneath it. And he tells you that this is an unholy symbol that looks like a device for some type of. He said, I don't know, but it looks like an ignition device or some type of construct or something that was built. But this is an unholy symbol. You see it? It's a stone arch with a fire burning beneath it. And this is an unholy symbol of Droskar.
Okay, my memory is really bad, but Brodric takes lots of notes, and I will show this to him later and ask him if this is something I should recognize, because I don't remember.
Heck if I know what this is.
Shit. Okay, so so at least it's legitimately a mystery. At least it's that. There's so much stuff to keep track of.
He tells you that Droskar was originally one of the greatest student-smiths, or Torog. Right familiar with the dwarven god Torog. He says, a little bit patronizingly, since you are a dwarf.
Okay, so...
Do you know who Torog is?
Yeah, I got one of his magic rocks in my pocket here. Let me find it. And I'll put down the returning stone on the table.
He looks at it. He says this is... Wow. He looks at it and he tells you, says this is... And he kind of feels. And he says this goes inside something. He says this isn't like a returning stone. He's like, you meant for a sling?
I mean, we've been trying to figure out what it's for ages, but nobody seemed to have any good answers.
He tells you this isn't for a sling. He takes a sling and he takes it and he says that yes, it does have a returning property on it. He says that this goes to something else. He says you have two pieces of thing. He says these were not collected from the same place, were they?
I don't think they were. We didn't collect these from the same. No. I had the magic stone for long. Yeah, no.
He says yes, these are not. He says that this has a returning property on it, but it doesn't work for the sling. So he's like, whatever is on this, that whatever the stone goes to, it goes to something much bigger. And for this rod, it looks like it's some type of I don't know. He says this rod goes. It looks like an unholy symbol. He says I think it might be used to activate something. Maybe like a chamber or a door, or it could be a device. He says that the Droskar like I said, he was one of the greatest students of Torog until it was discovered that he was copying his work from another who he had enslaved. For this he was cursed by the Father Creation to never create an original work and cast of the Dwarven Pantheon. But not before Droskar killed his captive, who would never be able to take his place as Torog's forge. Rejected, he searched for followers of his own, promising them salvation in return for ceaseless work or simply just enslaving them. None of these helped him, however, or inspired any originality within the god. So after Earthfall, Droskar heard the prayers of his dwarves who had refused to follow the quest for the sky, which, if you know, those are the dwarves that went up to see the sky after Earthfall, if you're familiar with that. These are the ones that chose to remain in the Darklands. Left behind their kin and abandoned by Torog, they cried out for help against their enemies that surrounded them. Droskar offered them power and protection, allowing them to reclaim their shattered empire in exchange for eternal servitude. The dwarves saw this trade as fair. As they accepted Droskar's patronage, their skins turned gray, and they became Droskar's chosen people, the Dugar. And what I have seen many times in the Darklands is that temples of Torog will be desecrated and turned in harsh times. They will be turned into temples of Droskar as the dwarves cry out for help when they see that Torog is not listening to their prayers. And I'm seeing many desecrated temples of Torog into temples of Droskar. Does this ring a bell?
I mean, there's only one place I've been to I think has any connection to any of this, and I mean it's been a while. We got some magic mushrooms there at one point, but
I actually
really
have some of those
these
mushrooms.
And yeah, we do still have a sack of those.
I definitely have a sack of mushrooms.
If you think it has some kind of attachment to the temple, to that temple, I mean, I could probably go back there at some point, but otherwise I wouldn't really know what to do with this.
He says that there could be more clues in this fallen temple. He says, or the temple. He says that there's more. He says it's old. He says the stone is old. He says the stone looks like it predates. Let me see how much information we'll go. We rolled on the thing. We didn't roll on the stone. That's not right. I didn't roll right. My apologies. There we go. Yeah, he tells you this stone predates Earthfall.
Oh boy.
The stone predates Earthfall.
I mean, the place I found it certainly didn't. I'm pretty sure we found that in like the Dwarven Monastery, didn't we? I want to say we did. I'm gonna say we did. I'm gonna say we found it there.
Okay.
Well, maybe after all this nonsense is over, we can go back and I can check it out. But God knows how long it'll be before then.
Okay. Well, he says that after you go to the kobold cave, he sized you up, Garlemon. He says that he will try to make some armor for you, Brodric and Nualia. Now, he does tell you that before you leave tomorrow morning, to stop back by. But he says tell your group to stop by. Or he says I'll have it on the boat. I'll have it on the craft tomorrow for the little guy and for you, Aloysius.
Alrighty.
Thank you.
He says sorry we didn't have any equipment for you, your bigger folk. We're gonna do the best we can. Okay. So, again, another day goes by. Does anyone want to do anything, Nualia? Does anyone want to speak or try to do anything as this is your last night?
I want to paint.
Okay. Do you have a performance painting check, or you just want to roll? I think that's going to be intelligence check to paint, correct?
Yeah, or a craft painting check.
Okay. Just roll. Okay, Nualia is painting. She is getting her bearings. What did you paint, Nualia?
I wanted to paint Marius.
Okay.
Marius.
You wanted to paint Marius. So that is what you can do. You're painting Marius. Now, after the evening, after you've been painting all night, but everyone gets to sleep. Does anyone else want to do anything while she's painting? I don't want to short go anyone.
I put there what work we'll be doing.
Okay. Okay. We'll stay in the most tavern-like place, has to try out different foods, and listen to some of the stories he can. Okay. So I'm going to assume that everyone just continues to do the regular nighttime, correct? And sleeping and do that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so speak now, forever hold your peace. What type of armor do you have, Bert? And what type of armor do you have, Aloysius?
I have
Studded leather.
Okay.
There's one studded leather.
Okay. We can go to... okay. So at the...
Oh, take that back. I just have leather armor, but I'd like to upgrade to studded if I can.
Okay, well... Give me a second.
As a way of upgrade, it could be upgrading the buckler I have, or some other. It's mostly just becoming magical stuff. No more regular stuff, I think. And the
Yeah,
plus ones.
I am looking, I'm looking right now for something. Okay, I like this a lot better. Here we go. Let me see. Okay.
Invested most of all his money into defensive equipment.
Got you. I got you. So the night goes by, everyone sleeps great, and you see... Okay. gnome name generator. I gotta keep these names in check. Gnome name generator. So it's going to be a male name. His name is, write this down. Let me get a pen. Goodness. I'll tell you what, it feels so good to play D&D again, guys. Hopefully we get a more consecutive schedule. So it feels good to play D&D again. We get a more consecutive schedule after this week.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Okay, so his name is going to be, the scout's name is Runjas. Skin. Sininkirk. Saninkirk. There we go. I like that better. Runjas Saninkirk is the scout's name. And you see him with his backpack there, his equipment at the dock as the group is waiting. You see Rosalie there. She is going to be staying behind. But she has a bag of goods. And she says that the boat will be arriving soon. She says a couple more people should be joining you as well. So, you see another halfling. You see two halflings.
Gnomes.
Gnome, excuse me. Thank you. You see two gnomes. I gotta change the stats around. Let me change the stats around. I've got halflings here. Here we go. Do you guys want me to play these NPCs, or it would be easier if somebody else did, because I'm gonna be running monsters. So what would you like to do?
I would play an easy one.
Okay. He has his equipment. You see another gnome walk up. He seems more muscular for a gnome. You see he has a masterwork rapier and a dagger. But he tells you his name is, for all Bravado. That's his name is Bravado. So Bravado is here. He said, after listening to your speech, Aloysius, don't know how much help I can be, but I was inspired to come and help lead to the protection of my village and my family. I will be at your service.
And we are thrilled to have you.
And then we're going to do... And another gnome comes up, and I don't know how much this person will be of help. Let me see, get something. Here we go. This person is dressed in like hides. You see that she has like kind of paint on her skin. Her hair is kind of a tangled mess. And she says her name is Sylvia. And after hearing the situation, she says that she is not as good as tracker as Runjas, but that she'll be able to help in, foraging for food, maybe protection from some animals, or speaking with animals, and maybe to just be a little deterrent of anything that might attack the group. Who wants to play? Who wants to play the other person? Yes, that is Bravado that I sent you.
Okay.
We have one more person who wants to play Bravado. Not Bravado, but Sylvia. Does anybody want to play Sylvia? Or it can just be a get out of jail free card that I was sent to Garlemon. That is not how I want to
want to play
There we go.
And arrange a druid girl.
Okay. Yeah, she's a druid, yeah. I sent it to Garlemon. Okay. Also there, you see Runjoss has two things. He says, this is for you Aloysius, and this is for the kobold there. You have two, and this is for Meister Bronstone. You have 2 + 1 chain shirts for a small character.
Oh, pretty armor.
Perfect.
+1 chain shirts for small characters.
I'm gonna throw it on and ask Garlemon how I look.
I'm sorry, I missed a bunch of that. I was dealing with the dog.
That's fine.
Do you like my chain shirt?
I mean, it's gonna do you a lot better than that leather ever did.
That's +1.
All right then. I'm gonna wear it.
So,
It's so heavy though. I'm gonna have to drop some stuff, or I'm gonna be over encumbered.
Well, just give it to me. I can carry any amount of stuff.
So as the group patiently waits for the boat to get here, you can see Runjosh kind of tapping his foot. He's like, goodness, this is taking forever. He's like, and you see he has a bag. He has a bag of things. He's like, do you guys want to wait for the boat to get here to go over what supplies the city kind of mustered, the village kind of mustered up, or do you want to just wait? We got a couple of healing potions, potions of make us stronger, and a couple of potions make us quicker. Do you want me to hand these out or go over them?
I mean, the healing potions, I feel like should stick with the back line because the front line people can't usually use them in the middle of combat anyways. As for everything else, I'd say just give it to whoever that they think it's going to be most useful for.
Okay, so what do you want me to do with this bag? You want me to just keep everything? You didn't really answer. Okay, so the healing potions go to the back line. I don't know. I haven't had combat with your group.
Just
He
Brodrick will be like,
seems very short. He's like, he seems very short. Like, I mean, he is short, but he seems, with his words. It's like I never did combat with you. I don't know who's the back line and who's front line.
Brodrick will come up. I'll take care of it. I'll watch out for the group.
Okay. He says, well, here's some things. Just make sure it gets passed around evenly, even amongst the gnomes that are here to help you in this matter. Rune looks at Sylvia. He nods his head at Bravado. At that moment, the waters start to part. As I guess the meaning of boat was could have been lost. I'm going to send you all players as this device emerges from the water. Did everyone see it?
Yeah.
What in Gorham's name is that thing?
Runjar said that's the boat we're taking.
I've never seen a boat like that. Did it unsink?
Yes, it's a sinking boat.
Why would you want a boat that sinks?
I didn't invent it. I've been in it. Just I just want to take you guys. Just doesn't matter. Just he gives you some little. He gives each one of you some paper, and it has some herbs. Like as you unravel it, it has some herbs, and he said if you start to get nauseous, chew this. It should help with
Okay.
You see the gnome in the middle, or like you see it in the captain's chair. You see the top of the device. It has this huge wheel as it spins. Run jumps on top of it and spins it open, and the door opens up. Oh man, I don't want to get too much, but the hatch opens up, and he says, "Who's going to be first?"
You say it sinks, but it's meant to,
It's meant to sink, yes.
and it's okay if we get in.
You can see that the captain is already inside the boat here.
Okay. And you
You
see
sure it
him
won't
like
eat us?
Huh?
trembling, getting inside.
I said, you're sure it won't eat us? It looks like a giant fish.
Well, that's what it was modeled after. It was modeled after a fish.
Are you guys coming? Like standing.
Yeah, I'll hop
Yeah.
in.
Okay.
Waiting.
Yeah.
First.
As you go in, you definitely see a lot of metal and steel. It's a tight fit, but it looks, what's odd is that it looks a little more spacious inside than outside. You can hear the motor. I don't know who's in Sirenscape, but you can hear the motor kind of fire up as it's making a bunch of noise. Let's see. Let me see. The engine's giving off a little bit of a hum. You can hear the rattling of the engine. There's steam that's being released. But you know what's odd about this is that it sounds like a much quieter version of the boat that you took from Navor over here, except it's not an actual boat that sits on top of the surface. Okay. So Bert gets in very afraid, but once inside, we'll start looking at all the memorizing stuff. You hear a gnome open up a door to the captain's chair, and he says, "My name is Frankener. Make sure you keep your hands inside the vehicle at all times. Don't touch anything. And if a crash is going to happen, grab whatever holy symbol you have and make sure you pray to whichever deity you see fit to pray to at this time."
If it crashes,
He shuts the door and slams it, and you hear the hum of the engine as you take off. Nualia pokes it with a stick. Okay. Brodric takes his holy symbol right away. So as you go, you're starting to become used to the noises now. So the noises now are just like the backdrop of a scenic walk in the forest of the birds chirping. You can't even notice that they're there. Okay. The group is now off to the kobold cave. The first little bit of the trip is it's not very eventful. But you do see
the window.
you do see the craft come to a stop as you hear a little bit of mechanical moving. You can see that he stopped and he's looking, and you see the two little claw-like structures that resembles crab claws move. and you see the antenna-like structures as well. He opens the door and he looks and he says, "Rune, look at that." And it seems there's been like some type of debris here. And as he uncovers the debris, you see a chest. And he tells the group, he says, "Do you want to submerge and do you want to and see what's in the chest?" He says, "I'm trying to grab it with my claws, but I can't." He says, "Does the group want to try to risk going out and seeing what's in the chest?"
You want us to get out of this vessel?
No,
And what are you doing?
I'm asking you. I see a chest here. I'm just asking.
You're supposed to breathe.
He says, "Glad you asked there, sir." And he rumbles around and he pulls out, and you can tell that this chest that he's pulling out is magical. It actually looks like instead of a bag of holding, a chest of holding. And he pulls out, it looks like a glass. It's really odd, especially for you, Gorlamon. He pulls out a helmet, but the helmet is made of glass. And it has a huge rope connected to it that seems to be hollow. He says, "What you do, you put this on and you put these boots on here. And these boots will hold you down to the bottom. And you walk across the river floor. And you'll be able to breathe as long as you keep the helmet on." As he chuckles.
Hell, I ain't scared of nothing. I'll do it.
When water get in, if we open the door,
No, and then he pulls a hatch under you. And you see at the bottom of the device, there's like a little bit of the bottom here. He pulls that, and it's definitely magical. You start to feel a lot of wind, like a bunch of wind, kind of like slow up, like it's pushing the water underneath. Aloysius looks around nervously. SpongeBob meme with the caveman. I gotta find that meme.
But yeah, I'll throw on the helmet and everything in the boots.
This is Aloysius. Hold up, let me find it. This is Aloysius right now, guys. Look into Sandpoint. Look at memes.
Definitely.
Okay. Does anyone else want to go? I have one more suit.
I'll go.
Okay, so Brodric goes. He pulls the hatch and you hear a little bit of water. Okay. So how to get some underwater music going, guys?
Let's go put on the underwater music from the old Mario 64 games.
No, I don't want to be copyright banned. So as you feel very, very like in a zen presence under the water. You've never done this, but you feel something very odd, Garlemon. And you feel, to you too, Brodric, you've never felt this before. You feel an intense pressure in your ears. You've never felt this before. Very intense, like your eardrums are going to burst, but not, you don't know how to, you never felt this before. As you continue to walk, it's kind of murky because the device or craft is turning up some water. But now you see that he's kind of moving the device around, and he shines a light. Now you both could see before, but you know you have your weapons with you, of course, and you see that a chest is kind of submerged halfway into this riverbed here. And as you go over to it, you can hear the rattling of the rusted clasp of the chest hitting the debris under the water. And it gets louder and louder.
Brodric, not understanding how things works a little too loudly. Garlemond! Can you hear me?
Garlemon proceeds to not hear him underwater.
This is what you hear if you're in Sirenscape. Did you hear that, Cody?
Yeah. So I'll just kind of wave my hand behind myself and kind of wave him forward to follow me over to the chest.
Okay.
Once we approach the chest, I'm going to cast Detect Magic.
Magic. You detect magic. You detect magic.
How do you convey magic to me? Do you just yell it at me, or do you try and convey it somehow?
Oh no, I would straight up just yell it. Like, you'll see my hands waving like crazy. Garlemond, there's magic! And then hand waving and all sorts of like excited arm movements.
You cannot move fast or excitedly underwater.
Oh yeah, no, this is totally awkward.
It's in
Well, yeah, you
super
can-
slow motion.
Yeah.
Yeah, it will be an slow-mo segment.
Well, I'll grab the chest and try and dislodge it.
You're trying to do it hard. Make a strength check.
Hold on, I'll assist with that.
Okay. So you get a plus 22. You both get it kind of nudged. You got a good hook on it, and then you hear. Let me give you some motor noises, Garlemon, since you're in the Sirenscape. Let's get some. You hear some steam. And you hear as the submarine is now turning around, and he slowly goes to you with those two crab-like arms or appendages. And as you've gotten it loose now, he's able to grasp it from you.
Alrighty. Well, I'll make sure he's able to grab onto it real well.
So you're trying to secure it at this moment.
Yeah.
And he got it and he secured it. And he take the two tentacles and it takes it. And it, you know, it secures it. You guys slowly but surely walk back to the device, make your way back up. Everyone make a spot check. That is underwater. Okay. As you continue to make your way to, you get up, you submerge yourself in water. You still hear this scratching noise from inside the chest that you can hear on Sirenscape for those who are on Sirenscape.
So I start then waving my hands frantically at the boat and kind of point to the helmet thing where I think my ears like to try to convey there's some noise in the chest.
Okay.
Which I know that there's correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think there are rules actually for trying to communicate like that. I just don't remember. I want to say it's under bluff.
To communicate, bluff is to communicate things without other people knowing that you're communicating them.
Yeah, but I want to say there was like a rule with bluff of like pantomiming. I don't know why I just thought of this.
Yeah, I didn't know about this.
There's some sort of like physical one. I just don't remember where it's at.
So there's actually a feat that I just found that says that when attempting a bluff check to deliver a secret message, you can take a -5 penalty on the check to communicate a simple message even to creatures that do not share a language with you. So it sounds like if you want to like actually pantomime something like reasonably coherent, you actually need to have a feat.
Okay, maybe that's what it was that I was thinking of.
Yeah, it's called expressive pantomime. Yeah, so otherwise bluff is used to give secret messages, but you can't pantomime with it unless you actually have some degree of unless you have the feat. Because otherwise what you're doing is just a bunch of motions.
Yep, okay. That's probably what I was thinking of. Thank you.
Okay, well now we got that.
So now that we have it secured to the arms of the sub, does he do anything with it, or does he just hold on to it?
Well, he's holding it, and he's the the claws. Now that you have it, it's like he puts it on. How can I announce this? He's taking it, and they're kind of, you know how people can put their hands behind their back, kind of flexible. These are the kind of the same thing. So he has it, and we can. He starts to go up. He tells you this way. He tells you. He looks at you. Now that you have it, and he points his finger in the air, and he's pointing up. And then I don't want to give it up, but then like he points to himself, and then points up. So you and Brodric can guess what that means.
Okay,
Can we get into the sub before he goes up?
Well, he's not moving.
Yeah, so I'm gonna head back to where we came out and try and get back into the sub.
And you do. You get back in. I would assume that Brodric does not want to be underwater alone as well.
I mean, this is like a world of pain for Brodric right now. It's like one fear to a completely different fear. So this is the only thing is if he gets left underwater by himself, he'll probably die. So he's going to go with the small box that he can barely breathe in.
Okay. So he goes, you get back in the water. And he tells you as you get in, he says, "You feel okay?"
No. Nothing's right. But there's scratching in the In the chest out there.
He says, I can faintly hear it. He says, first off, take your fingers, pinch your nose, and blow. And that'll help with that pressure you feel inside your ears, I bet. That's the first time you've been underwater like that. He makes his way up. And he starts to makes his way up, and he tells you that to bring the chest inside. So you make your way up, Rune opens the door, and he grabs the chest. And closes the hatch, and now you have this nice chest inside the device. And the scratching can be heard. It's a little louder now. But you definitely detect magic.
Okay, well, let's open it up.
In here?
Well, nowhere else we're gonna open it up.
Because this there's not a lot of land on the other side. It's like the kind of the Okefenokee swamp, like a natural river. So let me see.
Does the chest appear trapped? Not trapped, locked?
It is, but it's a simple lock.
I'll take out my my traveler's any tool and shape it into a nice little hammer, and I'm just gonna try and break off the lock.
Okay.
So I'm assuming that's a strength check.
Yep, make me a strength check. You do it. At that moment, okay, this can be, there we go, all players, okay. At that moment, something burst out of the chest and starts bouncing around the submarine.
As soon as the chest starts to even just open on its own slightly, I would cast open close on it to immediately close it.
Okay, so what you want to do? You want to do a reflex save to this creature's reflex save, or is that more like what you want to do for that? Since that wasn't
That
voiced
action?
before the action. How would you like to handle that, Spencer?
I mean, that's you. You're the DM.
I got you. Okay.
I think opposing reflex save
Yeah,
sounds fair,
let's do
since
a opposing reflex
nobody was
save.
particularly surprised something was going to jump out.
True. Let's do a reflex save. I'll roll mine, you roll yours.
Ooh, well,
Okay, yeah, I rolled a 20. I don't know how that happened.
well.
So, as Spencer, as Brodric tries to hold his hands, this thing jumps around and starts to bounce. And you know the noise, the little scream from the that R2D2 makes? We're gonna say that this is what.
Wow!
Yeah, we're gonna say that this makes this noise as well, as it starts to flutter around the room. Does everyone want to make a? It just starts. Just flipping out. It just starts. You start to hear. Anyone have languages? What language? Anyone have Draconic or Infernal or Celestial?
Have Draconic.
No.
Okay. So anyone have linguistics?
I have linguistics.
You do. Okay. So make a linguistics check. Okay. So you can tell that it's speaking multiple different languages, and it's like it's alternating each thing it's saying, like out, and then you hear get in Draconic, and then you hear me, and then you'll finally hear here, but it's alternating. So it's like you'll hear get blah blah blah, then you'll hear blah, me, blah, blah, blah. You get it? And then you'll hear blah, 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 out, blah, blah, blah. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's alternating, and it's just rotating itself around the room, like, and then you see it starts to make itself brighter. It looks like a flame, but you don't feel any heat come from it.
What kind of check you want to grab it?
Like a grapple check.
Alrighty.
Yeah, I mean, you beat its CMD. Let me check its CMD. Yeah, you beat its CMD, so you grab it.
Okay, now that I can hold it still a little bit and get a better look at it, is there anything in particular I notice?
You see the picture. This is what it looks like. If anyone wants to try to make a knowledge check.
What would this be? Engineering, maybe?
No,
Like Arcana, I think, right?
I'm gonna check. Knowledge check, Pathfinder.
Planes.
Let me see. Knowledge check for
Will-O-Wisp or something like that.
Yeah, because it looks like a construct.
Oh,
What about outsiders? What would that be? That's religion? They don't say that.
That's planes.
The planes.
That's planes.
Make a planes
There's-
check.
Anybody have planes?
I have bardic
I have 2
knowledge, and what
points
that
in it,
perk
though.
does too.
Okay. Aloysius tells you that this isn't a construct at all. That this is a lantern archon.
and,
He tells you that they're usually good, they're lawful, and it's a small outsider. He tells you with that they speak celestial, draconic, and infernal, and true speech.
What's true speech?
Yeah, it's kind of like an offshoot of infernal, I think.
I'm gonna tell Burke to translate for us in Draconic.
yeah, I heard it said some things. I didn't understand many of them, but I picked the words "get me out of here."
Tell it to quit wiggling so we can talk to it.
I will tell him in Draconic, "Calm down. Who are you?" In Draconic?
Mm-hmm. So it stops the fluttering. Okay. He says to you, Bert, who are you?
I respond, "I'm Bert Redcoat, and this is Tick Tick." I point to Tick Tick, the goat skull. These are my friends. May I help you?
He tells you back in Draconic. He says, if they're friends, tell this rough one to let me go.
I will tell the one that doesn't like being touched.
Well, tell him that once we know that we're all on the level here, that I'd be happy to let him go. But I'd like a little information about who he is and what he's doing here before we just go letting him run around again. With my apologies.
I will respond to Arkham. It's a little on edge. It's nervous because you're here. What can you help me with, and what you want to do, and here, relax, surely.
Say that one more time, Bert. I didn't catch it.
Telling him to He's nervous. That's why he's reacting to that. And how can we help him? So he lets go.
Oh, so I looked it up. It seems like true speak is just it's like everybody can hear it. Everybody can understand you.
Really?
Well,
Okay.
from what I'm gathering from the spell true speak, so I imagine it grants true speech. So it's just your speech can be understood to all creatures.
And place a spell. Any creature that is not mindless.
Okay, got it. So with that, now that I know that, yes, he speaks to the room now. Now I know what true speak means. He says to let me go. I was locked in this device, and now I'm locked up again.
Well, do I have a guarantee that you ain't gonna start any trouble if I let you go?
He tells you that the only trouble will be if he remains prisoner.
Very well. I'll release him, but I'm gonna keep a hand on my sword.
Okay. Okay, so
What's your name?
he tells you that his name, he goes by Hebo. He goes by Hebo.
Oh, so you're a she.
Hmm?
You're a she?
No, he says he goes by Hebo.
You go. Wasn't the icon responding?
And he doesn't get like the she. He doesn't really get that part. He just tells you he goes by Hebo.
Yeah.
Or I go by Hebo. There we go. I go by Hebo. Excuse me. I go by Hebo.
Then I assume it's a she.
That's fine.
So why were you locked in that box?
He tells you. I'm gonna say it. It tells you that
I mean, it doesn't really matter.
he tells you that it remembers traveling with news, and it was met it was intercepted to deliver a message. And
Well, what was the message?
he says, I am bound by duty and honor. I cannot tell you the message, but it tells you that it deliver a message. And that...
To where?
Let me find out. Give me a second. That I was tasked with delivering an important message, but I was intercepted by some type of beast. He doesn't. He tells you that the beast had 5 black wings, and it had like a very gaunt figure. It was covered in black oily like skin, with no eyes and a mouth full of sharp teeth. Said that it was trying to flee from the creature, and it got away, finally, but that then um, it was then intercepted by um, a group of creatures that looked like um, Burke, and he was put on some type of. He tells you it seemed like some type of raft or boat, and it seemed like the boat had sank.
Who was your message for?
would tell you who this message for. I got to really think about this.
Is the chest that he came out of a regular chest, or it's something unusual in it?
If we can talk about the other components in the chest in a moment, but it doesn't seem like it was. It does seem like the chest is magical for sure. But
Maybe it was a mechanical trap or something like that.
yeah, for sure, it is the chest is even magical themselves. It's really that these two things happened by coincidence, that he was locked in a magical chest. And even Aloysius tells you that you can teleport, can't you? Because that's what because he has a teleporting feature, and he says he tried, but he couldn't. I didn't know I was transporting to. I didn't know. I just knew that he definitely knew that he was underwater. And he's lost track of how long it's been.
Would the people his message is for still be alive?
He says he says he cannot die. Or if he could, this world would know it. It would be an aftershock to that of the death of Erodin.
Oh, your boss is very important then. I'd like to meet him someday.
He tells you that he was on the way to the plane of fire when this happened.
Is that a long journey?
He says yes, the plane of fire is a long journey. He had to give a message. That he had to give a message to his lord.
Who does your lord serve?
My lord does not serve anyone. He is served by legions.
Who is your lord?
He says, my lord is Regathiel, the Emperor Lord.
Dear Lord.
The great five-winged being who leads legions of the greatest warriors into battle.
Who is Bragath? Ragithol?
Yeah, I ain't never heard of no Ragathel.
I had.
He tells you that he says Regathiel is son of Fiona, a demigoddess of the plane of fire, and Despair, the father of Dis. He was born in hell, which his mother flung him out, and he was once served by the hand of the inheritor, an angel who now acts as the goddess Amadeus Herald, then known as the Hand of Vengeance. This angel was reassigned after the death of Erodin, but Regathiel now fights, even though he has demonic bloodline. He now fights in the service of the heavens.
Alright, so a kind of good guy. Alright. Look, my name is Brodric. I am a cleric of Gorham. I may be able to help you a little bit.
What could you help me with, mortal?
Well, you were obviously trapped. Now you're not. So you'd be able to get to where you need. But I do have to ask, before you leave our presence, does this message have anything to do with Lamashtu?
I don't see. He tells you, and you can hear the humming. He tells you not directly, I wouldn't suppose, but one of his followers of the Lamashtu.
Then I think our paths may have crossed for a reason. We have been encountering different creatures. The mother of monsters has been attacking my hometown. Me and my companions here, we've been trying to find ways to get rid of her of sorts, away from this area. I would say that you and I should share information with each other. I have been trying to locate the last missing piece of the Lamu. I believe it's in the hands of a hobgoblin or a bugbear chieftain near Sandpoint.
Sandpoint. You're from Sandpoint.
Yes.
What? They asked you what year it is.
I tell them what year it is.
Okay, so it is oh no. I will tell you guys so we can get back on track. It is dun 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 dun. It is 47. Okay, let me do this real quick, guys. Let me do this math. It is 47. 9, 10. It is 4697. Okay, 4697. He says 46. I've been trapped for 17 years in that box.
That's older than I am.
The message, he says,
We are the same age then.
he says it's of my utmost importance that I continue to go to the plane of fire to deliver this message. I need to find my Lord, because 17 years is nothing but a blink of an eye for him and myself, but on the mortal realm, 17 years, a lot can happen.
Now, I don't mean to be rude, but are you going to be able to make it there on your own? Like, I get that you're like a interplanar being and you serve a great, powerful lord, but I got to be real with you, friend. You got caught by kobolds and put in the box for 17 years. Are you going to be able to make it there on your own?
He says I was weak from fighting off this creature with 4 black wings, no eyes, and sharp teeth, and I evaded him for months, for 3 months, as he chased me through the plains, the plane of water, the plane of air. I got backtracked. I was almost in the plane of fire, but then I had to make way, and I went to the material realm, and then came to the astral realm, and then back here to elude him. But I transported myself, and he starts to transport around. He's starting to transport himself around the room, but I was evading him for months because the message was that important. I now believe, he says, without something, a demon from the hells chasing, I will be able to. Okay. I'll be able to get there safely. Guys, give me 1 second if you don't mind. Just give me like 1 moment, Cody. Give me 1 second. I'm sorry, guys. I gotta move my car. I'm looking for my keys. Just let you know where I'm at. I'm so sorry, guys.
Yeah, no worry. Put some elevator music to wait on.
Never mind. She's gotten it. Okay, here we go. He tells you. He says that he's eluded through the plains, and now that he has eluded the creature, he is more than confident that he can make his way to the plane of fire.
Does the creature sound familiar? Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Let's see, Nualia.
So the creature, if you can picture it, it has 4 wings, a slender body. The skin is black and oily. It has no face. He says no eyes, no nose, and only has a mouth.
So I asked, so are you the reason that this black dragon-like being we've heard of is in this area then?
And he tells you he has no recollection of a black dragon in the area. He doesn't even know where he's at. He knows of Sandpoint, but he knows of an abbey, Windsong Abbey, but doesn't know of anything else.
So, how can we help you get to deliver this message?
He says, well, I can continue to travel there. Now that I'm off in the material world, I just would need a planar travel spell.
Yeah, I'm not that good to be able to do that. But you should, as I mentioned, with Lamashtu's forces being out and about, wherever it is that you're heading, you should be on guard.
Okay. He says, will do. He thanks you for rescuing him, and he promises that once he tells his master or his lord that you will be fully compensated for his free of capture. He asks to know each one of your names.
That's nice. And I'm Bark Redcoat, and this is Tick Tick.
Tick Tick.
Yeah, I will say Tick Tick near her, and she will tell me, so I assume that was her name.
And that's what he asked for. He asked for your name as well. The person talking to him, he asked for each one of your names, so that when he returns to his lord will find you and reward you for his freedom. That's funny. Aloysius is, I should just passing through Sandpoint. Okay, so
I say, well, I'm Nualia.
Nualia, do you have a last name?
I don't know.
That's actually, it's Tobin, Nolly Tobin. So he says, nice to meet you and thank you for your rescue. Thank you for rescuing me. And I can just assume that everyone gives the creature their names, or does anyone want to not divulge that information to the creature? Is there anyone in particular that doesn't trust it or isn't really sure about the whole situation?
I will give him Aloysius, but that's all I'll give him.
Okay.
No last names.
No last names, got you.
I am Brodric Dawnkeep.
And I can assure that Garlemald will give him his name as well, correct, Cody? No worries, man. Okay. Okay, so as we continue to go, yeah, almost a year later, Project Dawnkeep, the creature bids you adieu and says thank you for rescuing him. Again, now that he knows your true names, he will make sure that the message that he was intending to give his master, and not only are these heroes that helped free him from his capture, are rightfully rewarded. At that moment, you see the creature start to flutter. He starts to fly up until eventually disappearing from your view. For those who use Sirenscape, make this it didn't take too much time, but it took about 20 or 30 minutes for Brodric and Garlemald to get down there and to put on the suit, to start to get the manuals, the manual, to learn how to do it, to rustle it up. It took some time, so we'll say 30 minutes goes by. And at that moment, make a perception check.
Everyone?
And we're making a perception check. Dang. Well, with that, Burke tells you he hears Draconic in a high-pitched reptilian voice that seems to be, because you guys are, you're still up above water, and the ship is the craft is kind of cut off with the hatch or whatnot. Could you just release the creature so you open the hatch And when the hatch was open, you heard this. Burke tells you that he hears Draconic in a high-pitched reptilian voice.
I tell them that. Do I understand what they're saying in Draconic?
It's too far to be muffled, but you can hear certain words as in, like, row.
It's like rogue.
Like row, like R-O-W, like row, or, things like that. Like row, keep up, don't fall behind.
Okay. There's someone
Sounds
nearby
like
speaking Draconic.
we might want to get back underwater.
So is that what the group wants to do? Wants to go back underwater?
Yeah.
Okay. So that moment,
Do we have to? Oh.
so at that moment, we batten the hatch and it closes. And a couple of minutes later, you see about 4 boats, small like canoes, of kobolds start to, what you can assume is kobolds, pass over you. There's about a 10 feet to 15 feet separation between them till the first one passes. The second one passes. The third one. And finally the fourth. They looked. You really can't see much. You can't make out what kind of equipment they have on or whatnot. You can just know from what Burke told you that that's what he heard. So you're assuming that the 4 canoes filled with about 16 kobolds passing near you. It's kobolds, of course. Because with the water, it kind of distorts. You get what I'm saying? It kind of distorts what you see. But you can tell that each boat had about four things on them, and you're just guessing that they're kobolds from what Burke told you.
Maybe, a hand shows up and you can see somewhat scaly kobold hand.
Mm-hmm.
Can we snatch a canoe with the arm?
Frankenert tells you he could. He says he probably could rise and snatch a canoe, but he says they're 15 feet. He doesn't know. It's like he's got his engines off. You're kind of free floating there. It's gonna make some noise.
That would kind of be pointless, but it would be fun.
I mean, it would kind of we kind of be playing out our hand a little early.
You're right. I just hate kobolds, and then I side-eye Burke.
Well, they can be kind of intense sometimes, and not in a good way.
Is there any possibility that they might be headed to Kibosh?
Oh, that's a good point.
I mean, if that's the case, like, I'm going to have to hope that the town can defend itself, because if there's that many of them headed to the town, that means it's the perfect time to attack their base as well. And if they're not headed there, then at the very least, we know that there's a decent number of them that are away from home. So I think if we're gonna follow through on our plan to go take the fight to them, this is the time to do it.
I'm going to ask Bravado if he thinks the town can handle themselves against that many kobolds.
He says, the Meisters are there, and they could handle themselves. The Meisters trained you guys. It just depends. They have to find the village first, and he's like, I just doubt that some of the kobolds, years ago. This was many years even before my time. I was told that the kobolds have been near the town when they were both trading and things, but as years have come by, we've become more secretive. You're the first visitors in the town that we've had since I was a wee lad.
Then I think it's best we let them pass. As much fun as it would be to snatch a boat down.
If anything, we should take this opportunity and hurry on to the kobold village.
Yeah, of course, I agree with Garlemon.
Okay.
Okay. Is that everyone votes to continue?
Yeah, I vote to continue. Reluctantly, because it would be fun. But
Sure, let's show them.
Okay. As they continue, you can continue still. He tells you that you have about still a day's travel um, until you have to make your way. You have some rations there. He has like a really, really small stove there that he's cooking it's mechanical. It's quite fascinating. And he tells you that he helped work on this boat and that he's actually been the Alkenstar. If you folks are familiar with that, which were where guns were first created here in Glorian, and that he's learned a lot about constructs from the natives there. Um, so that he's very proud of what he's done so far with his device, and tells you that the easy way to start it up, you use oil, just try not to make a mess because we are in a closed area down here. Now, I would hate for us to burn up alive other than drowning, but I guess if you had to die some way, they're both pretty. They're both just as bad as the other. He tells you.
yeah, they both sound miserable.
He kind of tells you with a cynical voice. So he says we got about a day. Time continues on. He says if you guys want to sleep, you can. I know it's cramped, or if you want me to try to camp in the swamp, but I think it's still safer down here. So he says, "Do you want to submerge or make camp on dry land, or we're gonna start getting more into the marshlands? As you can see, as you look out the device, the water now is becoming more brackish and muddy."
We should avoid revealing ourselves if at all possible.
Okay. More time goes by. He says, we have now for about 1 or 2 hours until we get to where Rune Josh has told me supposedly where the entrance to the Kobold Cave is, and Rune Josh says yes, it should be about a day's trip once we land. So now you get a couple hours, and you see the device kind of stop. Y'all have slept now. Has been the 8 hours. He kind of put it on like a autopilot, so to speak. He took his he has a little anchor, and he just had the craft stop in the middle where the group slept, so you didn't get to travel in that time, but everybody was rested, and you had breakfast, and you continue on your journey. But the water now is getting pretty dark and murky. And the group hears a rumble from outside. And this is what, if you have the Sirenscape, this is what you hear. It sounds like a roar that is muffled, of course, by the water.
Cast Detect Evil.
The roar comes from underwater.
And the roar seems like it's getting closer and closer and closer. Detect evil. Look that up. Does anybody want to make a perception check to see if they can see anything outside?
Could also be like,
Yep. I'm hearing a sound from outside. I'll take a look.
Okay. I will let Aloysius, since he scored the highest, and it is dark out here, describe what he sees.
Okay, it's sort of almost shark-shaped, alligator skin. It looks like a shark with alligator skin.
How big is it?
It's bigger than me. It's shark-sized. It's huge. It's like two gnomes. It's bigger. It's bigger than our vessel. It's scary. You can't see it.
I like how 2 gnomes was a measurement.
I'm gonna pull Gollum onto the little window I'm looking out of and sort of shove his face and go, look, look.
And then at that time, if this will load. Okay. At that time, the creature reveals itself, and this is what you see.
Okay. Like an ugly mix shark and a crocodile.
And Frankenert tells you, everyone get to the battle stations.
Where will that be?
And on that note, I'm going to end the story for the day. So we have facing an unknown underwater creature on the start of next session.
Alrighty.
Well, this would be an interesting battle.
Yep. And I'll go over y'all with the rules and things like that.